NASCAR has responded to Kyle Busch's pointed criticism that officials don't know their own rules or procedures after he was involved in a late race wreck that began with Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Kyle Busch attempted to get his car back out on the track, but he brought it back into the garage and was subsequently parked by NASCAR for violating the damaged vehicle policy rule that the organization has in place, and Kyle Busch was not happy about that. Upon exiting the infield care center, Busch told members of the media, this is over on stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. This is what he told members of the media. Matt Weaver posted this to X. We can just take a listen right here.
I don't know. I haven't seen a replay, but got beat by NASCAR procedures again. Just not being able to get back out on the racetrack.
Did you feel like you should have still been able to work on the car?
I had 4 flat tires out there, and we have these air jack systems in the car, mandatory by NASCAR, and the guy carries around an empty air bottle to plug up to the car. So couldn't plug it up so I could make my own return back to pit road. Said I just wanted to push, so they decided for 3 laps to figure out how to hook it up to tow us back in. Towed us into a work area where our guys reviewed the car, looked over the car, didn't see anything massively wrong. All the wheels were pointed in the right direction. We put 4 new tires on it to go back out to basically see what the next process was going to be for us. And then was told that if you need to work on it and repair it, you got to go back to that place. But if you go back to that place, they park you. So what are we supposed to do to continue to work on it now that we've got 4 new tires on it and all the wheels are pointed in the right direction?
Did they say maybe you didn't need minimum speed, or had it not gone green yet?
It hadn't gone green.
It hadn't gone green, yeah. Okay.
Hadn't gone green yet. You can't meet minimum speed if it's not green.
Were you in?
So that is what Kyle Busch had to say. He would reiterate this in a post over on X saying, parked by NASCAR officials. Rule says you have 3 attempts to make minimum speed. The race never went back green. I don't even think they know their own rules or procedures. So during an appearance on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, Senior Vice President of Competition at NASCAR, Elton Sawyer, discussed Busch's comments, and this is what he had to say. We can take a listen to this over here on Sirius XM.
You know, Kyle Busch had some, misunderstanding of what that was. Can you give us a little more background on why Kyle wasn't able to go back on track, Elton?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it was a misunderstanding on Kyle's point there from his perspective. So just to try to keep it as simple as I can to explain this. So as what we do on pit road as far as the damaged vehicle policy hasn't changed from 24. Other than we're given an additional minute. It's now 7 minutes versus 6. But as far as what our fans, our competitors, what they witnessed last year and the past 5 or 6 years, the DVP policy looks the same on pit road with the adjustments that I mentioned. The one thing that we added this year is at the scene of the incident, if you can't drive away, we would hook to the vehicle and we would tow it to the garage. Once you go to the garage, you're going to get one opportunity to leave the garage. Go on the racetrack, and this is not a new rule either. You get one opportunity at 3 consecutive green laps to meet minimum speed. Once you do that, you reset, and you're kind of back in the game. And in Kyle's case, he went out, left the garage, came back in, and once you do that, then you're going to be eliminated from the event. And the reason that this rule was put in place the way it is, if we didn't have a way to basically have an end to the DVP part of it, where you could reset, then what would happen is the competitors would go in the garage, work on the car a little bit, go back out, run 1 lap, come back in. They would do that multiple times, and that's kind of circumventing the purpose of the rule. So I think it was clearly just a misunderstanding. We had multiple meetings in the off season with the teams and the drivers, and multiple drivers came by throughout the week and had questions about the policy and making sure that they were clear. And it was unfortunate for Kyle and the RCR team, because they had a really good car. both he and the three were strong, and I'm sure they were obviously looking for a great finish, and that wasn't the case.
Visiting with Hilton.
So that is what Elton Sawyer had to say there regarding Kyle Busch. Kind of breaking down the rule. It does sound like Kyle Busch might have been a little bit confused on the rule. I think the whole DVP policy is ridiculous to begin with. I don't really understand why you can't have drivers that are involved in accidents go back, repair their car, come back out, run a lap or whatever, realize they need to fix the car again, come back in and try and get that car repaired. I mean, that is what I watched growing up in NASCAR all the time throughout the 90s and the early 2000s, and didn't really seem to have any issues with that. And that was part of the championship game, right? If you were in an accident, you wanted to get back out there. You wanted to try and salvage as many points as possible, because you never know if someone else is going to be involved in a wreck, and you're able to make up those laps, etc., that you lost while you were trying to fix the car. So I really don't understand what the issue is there. He kind of tried to explain why the rule is in place, but I don't think he did a very good job of doing that. Basically saying they don't want the cars trying to run that one lap and then coming back in and fixing it, but doesn't really explain why he doesn't want to do that, just saying that's what the rule is trying to prevent, but doesn't say why it's trying to prevent that. I don't really understand why you would want to try to prevent that. I think you would want the competitors to try and get back out there. Maybe there's some idea that they're trying to like keep costs down or something like that. They don't want them to like use as much equipment to repair the car or something like that. I don't know, but he doesn't really give a reason. I'd like to know the reason for the DVP. Maybe I just missed it when they initially put this thing out, but I always thought this DVP rule was just utterly ridiculous, and I don't feel like anything Elton Sawyer said there is changing my mind on that. So I definitely feel for Kyle Busch, but obviously the rule is the rule. It does seem like there was a misunderstanding for him with the rule, but I think the rule is stupid, and I think NASCAR should maybe look into it, maybe change it, maybe go back to allowing teams, drivers, crews to fix cars that are damaged and allow them to go back and forth from the garage area to make repairs on those cars. Because at the end of the day, as fans, if I'm a Kyle Busch fan, I want to see Kyle Busch race. I don't want to see him in the garage. I'd still like to see him out there racing. If he can get out there and race, I want to see him race because I'm a fan of Kyle Busch. So I think NASCAR should maybe look at that rule and see if there are changes they can make to it. Because as it stands right now, it doesn't really seem like it's serving any purpose other than to sideline drivers who are involved in wrecks. That seems to be the whole point of the rule, where it's like you want to get them back out. If they can get back out and they can be competitive, why not get them back out? And we saw Ryan Blaney was involved in the same wreck that Kyle Busch was involved in. Now, obviously, different damage to the car, etc. But he was able to come back and get a seventh place finish, and now he's like leading the points because he had two really good stage one and stage two. Stage two, racked up a bunch of stage points, had a seventh place finish, and now he's leading the points, and we got to see him finish the race. So you want to see your top guys, your big stars, get out there and race. And I think the DVP policy here and the way it was enacted doesn't allow that to happen, and I think that's a shame. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of what Elton Sawyer had to say here regarding Kyle Busch violating the DVP policy and being parked by NASCAR at the Daytona 500? Let me know in the comments below.